What is going on, family? Welcome back to Monday Talks. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Yours truly, Boddhi Satva. How are you doing? Well, I hope that you guys have had a great weekend. The usual, ritual, shall I say, that you guys have enjoyed your weekend, that you guys have started your week accordingly, on the best of note, with the best of energy. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and it was interesting to see this year that, this decade, should I say, as we enter this new decade, a lot of the posts that were made by fellow sisters and brothers. Interestingly, quite a few of the posts that I've seen, especially from the sisters, were like a lot of, body acceptance type situation, where it was like, it had to do a lot with nudity, accepting the way you look, etc., etc. It seems as if this new era we're entering in is all about accepting who you truly are. Almost as if, the social media has twisted a little bit our own perception of ourselves and, messing up our, balance. Nerida, what it do, sis? Greetings, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's see. The interesting part of it all is to me that, we all say certain things, but we don't really live by what we say. We don't really abide to what we tell ourselves. And one thing is respect. Respect of our fellow sisters, women, mothers, etc., etc., etc. The female, the divine feminine energy. That is something that we tend to how do you say, neglect. We speak about the necessity of respecting that energy, of respecting, women in general, but we truly rarely do. Us men. Not that we necessarily mean to be disrespectful, but we omit certain things, because of this era of Instagram and nudity being very accessible, and everybody being pretty comfortable with showing themselves barely naked or naked, etc. Like it's banalized, and I guess that's the world we live in, and it's fine by me. As long as you own it. However, a lot of my fellow brothers, men, we tend to objectify a little bit, and I do know that some girls like to be objectified, but usually in the context of sexual intercourses. But that's exactly what it is. There is a time and a space for everything. Shorty, what it do, man? Black Child, welcome. Klaus Med, thank you very much for tuning in. And so we have to compartmentalize things, and understand that just because a woman is showcasing a certain amount of nudity on the internet, first of all, it's her page. She does what she wants to do. In no way, shape, or form do you have the right to go and feel entitled to go and tell her that you want to get inside her panties. I mean, that's rather rude, and it's cheesy, and tacky. And I tend to see that there is this banalization anyway. Of how we perceive, one another. A lot of the fellow men tend to show themselves as fuckboys, and there's nothing wrong in liking sex and all that shit, but don't be a fuckboy, man. If you're a grown man, act like a grown man. Own your shit. Don't lie to get to your means. If you want to get the pum pum, just be straightforward. Be like, yo, that's what I want. That's only what I can afford to give. But don't be using skillful, coming from a good space type of rhetoric to then get to just sleeping with the girl and just leaving her to the side. That's just fucked up, because then any good guys who's gonna come after you will unfortunately be assimilated to your bullshit. And us as men, we have a long way to go, man. We must face our shit, and we must understand that posting pictures of our mothers, of our aunties, of our grandmothers, and saying how much we love them and without them we wouldn't be here, or posting pictures of our daughters. Well, exactly, that's the thing. When it comes to our personal loved ones, it's holy, but you're forgetting that who you're doing wrong is also somebody's child, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter, etc. So you have got to be mindful. You've got to be mindful. That doesn't mean that you've got to be perfect, but you've got to be mindful and be respectful. It's extremely important, And the other thing is that, to all my fellow sisters out there, don't try to listen, don't try to hear what you want to hear. If somebody tells you something, it's what is being told to you. I know that a lot of guys are flaky about their shit, and when they say something, they usually tend to change their minds. But there's one thing that is extremely important, is not lying to ourselves. I keep saying that on my lives, and I think that it's something that is so underrated. We tend to take it for granted. Like, yeah, of course I'm not lying to myself, I'm being honest. Well, are we though? Are we really honest? Are we really honest? Brother James Germain in the building. So, welcome, brother. Sorry. Sorry. Basically, today I just want to talk about, this sort of like complacent approach of, oh my God, let's celebrate this, let's celebrate that. And it only lasts a few hours, a day. And then, next day we on to something else. And that's life. That's the world we live in now. But consistency is key, man. No success in nothing happens with just a one-off. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be repeating over and over the efforts to be a better version of yourself. That's just, as I say, I always give that example. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym, you're going to work out, you want to build a certain type of body, you want to build a certain look, well, you're going to have to be at it all the time, right? So it's the same thing with respect for yourself and respect for the other. And if you don't respect yourself, more often than not, you won't be able to respect anyone else. And I think that's something that's very, very, very sad, deplorable as a matter of fact. But it's not impossible to overcome, If you really want to change that, Edgar, c'est comment? If you really want to, that Gino, thank you very much. Welcome, family. Basically, if you wanna make a change, you just gotta be at it. You gotta repeat the intention of wanting to be a better version of yourself and moving towards, the necessary decision. I'm talking about your mind now. Freddie the Stupid in the building, what's going on? Buddy, we're always learning with you. Glad to hear was your good advice. It's true words, keep inspiring us. Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Bouba, c'est comment? Yes, I. Freddie, thank you very much, brother. By the way, congratulations on the baby and on your many accolades, brother. You are indeed making me and many of us very proud with your progress. Keep on doing what you do. Definitely inspiring, and yeah, man, looking forward to what you're going to bring in 2020 and beyond. So yeah, respect is primordial, and we do sometimes act in ways that may be unfortunately affecting our counterpart in a negative way, either out of ignorance or because we just went into that sort of like gray zone of, well, it's okay, she got it, or he understand what it is. Well, it's not like that. It's better sometimes to speak about something that's not pleasant and address it and get through with it than being silent about it and thinking that it's gonna be fine. If you put it under the rug, the dirt and the bullshit is still gonna be under the rug, right? Eventually, when you pull the rug off, you'll see all the mess that you covered up, and that's even more fucked up afterwards. Ivory White, merci Frangin, comment? And so this is the thing, and by saying what I'm saying, I'm not trying to say that I'm all perfect, and I'm not telling you that you must, but at the same time I am, because I think that we must as men understand that we have a strong role to play individually, to make sure that women don't feel like they are being, how do you call this, looked at as meat, as just a disposable thing that, can be used and abused over and over. That's got to end, man. There's a time and an age for everything. We're in the 21st century. I mean, it's about time we change a little bit. Actually, we change radically a lot of our negative ways. I still hear some very machistic conversations. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can be a little bit macho as well sometimes, but yeah, there's a dosage to everything. It's like cracking jokes. You can joke about a lot of things, but not about everything, unfortunately. As much as it would be lovely, but yeah, it's just not working like that in real life. So yeah, today's life is really about acknowledging the fact that it's extremely important to not just say that we love the women in our lives, our mothers, our sisters, obviously, but it's also to be about that love and that respect. It's to be about that consideration and that action, because words need to be followed with action. And if all you do is speaking, well, you're just shit talking at the end of the day, So your words got to be followed by action, and because it takes words to create to create motion, in my personal opinion. So yeah, let's be about that, man. Let's be about communication. Let's be honest. Let's be truthful with ourselves. Let's be truthful with others. If you're confused, you don't know where you are sentimentally, emotionally, it's okay. I mean, not everybody has the answer to their questions, and especially when it comes to love and relationships and promiscuous relationships, should I say, or situationship. In other words, you having sex casually with somebody may lead to developing certain feelings, and sometimes it's really hard to understand what those feelings are, because indeed, eventually when you guys get together, there's this sparkle that happens, and it's important to address these things. It's important to not play with people's emotions, and to know when to say stop, and to know when to move on with your life, and let that person, be who she needs to be and with who she needs to be. Unfortunately, we don't always understand and accept the fact that just because you get along with somebody very well doesn't mean that person is good for you, and vice versa. There is a certain fatality to it. There's a certain sense of philosophy. Not everyone functions the same way. I know that. But again, I think if we set motion towards, checking ourselves. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm not into this like, all feministic conversation, because I mean, feminists. Some of the feminists that I see out there, I'm with them. But some of the rhetoric and the philosophy behind it, I'm not with it at all. But but that's my personal liberty. I think that it is, Martina, you're right. I mean, and it's obviously not pleasant at all to be played with, At the same time as well, I think that there's a responsibility that goes on your hand, ladies, where it's like, if you know somebody's going to be playing with you, it's always very important to address the situation. And the moment you know that you're being played with and you decide to stay in that situation, then it is also your responsibility, you know what I mean? And you have to accept the consequences of your choices. Unfortunately, some people are not able to say no. Some people are just not able to let go of something, because it's just so sweet, it's just so nice, it's just so whatever the fuck it may be, So to each his or her own, but all I'm saying is that be as much as you can honest, but also accept that the truth is not going to be always pleasing. So if you want to hear the truth, be ready to hear the truth. Not just saying, yeah, tell me what you think, and then using what's being said against the person. I think that's another part. If you're asking a woman to be honest about her past, as salty as you might feel about it, the truth of the matter is that she doesn't owe you anything. And, whatever you guys are doing now is to be considered from now, on, not, then. As a matter of fact, it's because of the past that she had that she is who she is now, and you are who you are now, with the flaws and the beautiful aspects of your respective personalities. And if you know you're not going to be able to handle it, then just let that person go. Somebody will, maybe not you, but somebody will, and that's fine. But, don't wait until it's too late, and don't try to change people. That's another thing. People don't change, people just evolve if they want to, but nobody changes. That's also something that I've gotten to learn with time. And I may sound like I got it all figured out, but believe me, I also got my own doubts. I also got my own questions. I have very, very little doubts. Not very little doubts. I'm very confident in general in my life, thankfully. But just like any human beings, when it comes to feelings, emotions, and stuff like that, yeah, it's not always easy, because there's so many things at play. So many fine details that especially if you're somebody who's like me, is very cerebral, you think a lot, you might spend a lot of time analyzing things, and it may lead you to sort of like ruin things for yourself. Sometimes you just have to try to be not as hell-bent on over-analyzing a situation, and understanding that, things just have to happen in a way, in a natural, as naturally as possible. But that's not always easy, And again, I believe that you ladies have to understand this very primordial thing. Self-love is very important, There's a lot of posts about, y'all on the internet, on Instagram, this, that, flashing this, flashing that, blah, 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 blah. Self-love this, I'm a queen, well, you might be, but the truth is that the moment some fuckboys come along the way, or some guys who are just, whatever, and because the worst thing of it all is that you ladies are so fucking gifted. You can smell bullshit from afar, but it seems to be so sweet that you just fall for it. And it's okay, we learn all the time. But then you can't just be mad at anybody but yourself, And unfortunately, a lot of my fellow men, brothers, we have a weakness to also sort of like let this whole thing be the way it is, It's not correct neither. But it's so great to be posting how strong we are and how empowered we are on Instagram. But the moment we finish posting, we are tormented by the amount of likes we're going to get on that actual post, and we get depressed if we don't get these likes that we were looking for, this validation from people following us. Most of the time, you end up being a bit depressed. And the ultimate question that I have for you guys, because I talk, and hopefully I'm not talking too much bullshit, but what is happiness for you? What is happiness for you? What is making you feel fulfilled, making you feel happy? Because if you're trying to look for for others to validate you in order to be happy, you're putting yourself in some seriously negative predicaments. Whereas if you really try to do your best to find happiness within yourself, I think that's the key, because you can't find it in buying, new designer bags every day, every other week, or material stuff, or switching girls or switching guys every other day. It's like that ain't gonna do nothing to you. That's gonna make you just lose your energy and your essence. So good, Martina. It was a pleasure. Thank you for your presence, and see you next Monday. Or you can actually always watch the rest of the live. Enjoy and have a great week. Thank you very much. And so you see, the thing is that when we look at happiness, we look at it as something that's outside of us instead of looking at it as something that's inside, And the problem in my understanding is really that we are not understanding that it starts from within, If you don't start to learn how to be happy by yourself on your own, you're not going to be happy with anybody else. What's up? I've been ranking 5-star general. Brethren, you already know, man. Yes. That's true, brother. You're very right, man. You can't never really ultimately lie, and that's the thing, It's like you can bullshit as much as you want on Instagram and all this stuff, but it reminds me of a conversation that I had with this guy who was telling me about like this girl on Instagram that was really acting like, so strong, so this, so that, and well, she probably is, but in real life, completely shy, extremely reserved, almost like shut down, you know what I mean? Outside, it's almost like outside of that Instagram thing where she would just always consistently do those selfies. And I'm not talking about just about women here, I'm talking about men and women. But in this particular case, that conversation was about that young lady who is an influencer, whatever. And it was just interesting to see that, a lot of these people, again, have an image. But then outside of that image, when you're looking at them, there's so many flaws. So they're just taking care of the appearance, As long as the facade looks amazing, everything is good, and I'm a winner, and I'm amazing, and everything's going to be fine, and everything is great. But, man, if you don't fix what's inside, what's going to be outside is not going to be lasting too long. It's going to crack sooner than later. And you see, there's nothing uglier than somebody who's not fixed inside, It can be really, really ugly. It doesn't matter how beautiful you look physically. Inside, if inside is not clean, it's not on point, you're not balanced, you're not harmonized, you're not trying to work on yourself, that's going to affect your appearance, So it's great to take care of the physical, but the spiritual is very, very important, And the knowledge is out there, man. The beautiful thing about this era we're in is that there is so much knowledge at our disposal. YouTube, Google, you name it, Go and search for it. On Instagram, for example, there's a lot of like good knowledge that's being shared. There's people that really spend their quality time to look for stuff that will serve your life, add to your life, trying to get into this alkaline diet, or learning, the different patterns of how your system works, and understanding and be more attentive to yourself, etc. Just self-love and self-care, man, As I said, look after yourself, man. if you don't clean what's inside, and by cleaning, I'm not saying you gotta be pure, but if you're not aligning what's inside, it's not gonna come out correct. At a certain point, you're gonna crack under pressure, no matter what that pressure might be, you know. So in this particular case, we're talking about the respect of one another, especially towards our lovely counterpart, which is the divine feminine energy. I do love that word because it's so true. Huh? Women have this very profoundly uplifting and powerful energy, huh? But at the same time, it can destroy you as well. So it's pretty amazing in all its aspects. So let's just honor that. Honoring our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, etc. That's great, but we have to honor as well the daughters, the sisters, the granddaughters of others. That's very important. Yeah. IB ranking, you know it, man. Self-development is always key indeed, brother. That's what it is, man. That's what it care what it do. Yeah, man. I think that's it for today. I just wanted to talk about that because I found it so interesting. To see all these messages and this and that, and it's like, are you really gonna be living by that? They will say, come on. Are you really gonna be living by that? By those words you're saying? Yeah, let's check ourselves every once in a while. It's important. I do though. Me, I check myself all the time. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. Ooh, far from it. I'm flawed, just like anyone else. But at least I'm checking myself, and I'm working on getting better. I'm working on getting better every day that's given to me. And to close this chapter, this conversation today, happiness. Because at the end of the day, I think all of this comes down to love of self, love of the other, and happiness ultimately. It's not easy to be happy. It's not easy to be in tune with yourself, because a lot of the time it forces you to see aspects of your personality that will be causing you to sometimes despise yourself. But that's where the problem is, and that's where the solution resides as well. You need to stop doing that to yourself. Appreciate that you are indeed created in an absolutely perfect way. No matter how imperfect you might find yourself, or how unfortunate your circumstances might feel, you are created in absolute perfection, and you must live in that reality. Again, it's a process. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But I think that if you really put your head around it, and if you really put your desire towards, loving more yourself and learning how to love others, it's gonna be so benefiting for you, and it's gonna allow you to be more even healthier. Your life, your relationship with others is gonna be affected amazingly. You won't be so needy of validations. You won't be so needy of trying to see if you're being loved or liked by others. You won't even care, because you're sort of like self-sufficient, and anything else is a bonus, because you don't take anyone for granted, and you don't take anything that you do for granted neither. As long as we're breathing, and as long as we're here, and it's not just vain words, guys. I live by that rule. I remind myself every day I wake up and I give thanks. I pray, I meditate, and you do you, whatever you have to do or say, but you have to tap into that inner deep thing is within you and give thanks to that. The simple fact that your heart beats alone, the simple fact that you're able to sense things before they come, the simple fact that you're able to breathe. there's so many beautiful things about our lives that if we don't acknowledge them, and we don't, cherish and work on enhancing and bettering, what needs to be worked upon, yo, we will miss a lot of good opportunities, you know. But again, we all have our respective path. Not everyone has a, you know, straight. There's no straight line, you know. It's up, down, left, right, going backwards, going forward. Then you know, there's no straight line to self accomplishment. But as long as you want to get there, nothing and nobody can stop you but yourself. On this words, family, thank you for tuning in today. Another Monday Talks. It shows one. I'm trying to shorten Monday Talks, you know, every time because I'm realizing, I mean, sometimes, well, if it goes for an hour, it goes for an hour. But I think I like the 30, 20 minutes format. I think it's cool. And I thank you once again for taking off your time to listen to what I'm saying, and hopefully get something out of that. Another information, I'm going to be migrating the Monday Talks to YouTube. I know this is not our platform, and I know this is not necessarily you're welcome, you're very welcome. Instagram is really where we at, but yeah, I need to also provide a lot more content to my YouTube channel, and I do hope that you guys don't mind. But yeah, soon we're gonna migrate there. I'm still studying. I'm still debating when, but it's gonna have to happen. I mean, for now, I'm uploading the Monday Talks on YouTube after I do them. But you know, eventually we're gonna have to move to YouTube. So I hope you guys don't mind. And the advantage is that, well, at least it's gonna be there, and we can interact just like here, live and direct. And the truth be told, it's monetized too, so it makes a little bit of money as well, which doesn't hurt. All right, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, beloved queens and beloved kings, let's truly be, and not just talk about it. You know, you cannot talk yourself into something. You got to work for it, and you got to really be about it. And if you do talk yourself into it, well, then do the work to catch up real quick, because otherwise you'll be quickly perceived as a fraud, you know. As the pressure gets harder on you, you're going to crack. So, yeah, don't rush the process, but embrace it. It's going to get there. Have a beautiful week, family. I know I sound a little bit tired, but I am. I had a long day. And as you know, it's our Monday Talks rendezvous. So I shall see you guys next Monday, inshallah, for another Monday Talks. And until then, have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful week. Productive, uplifting, positive, filled with all the greatness, the blessings that you want and you deserve. All right? Live your truth. Until then, peace.